like you, you knew it. You're doing good, Mr. String Bean. Yeah. Yeah, are they taking out your ears? I'm just on a little mud duck, man, so I ain't got a lot going on. But String Bean, man, take care of business. All right, man, I got you. Plug in the ears, String Bean. I know. Yeah, I'm a mud duck too, String Bean, but I just do what I can. But anyways, you're getting out. The funny thing is, String Bean, I should be doing a video here right now, because if they're plugging your ears, String Bean, all I hear is you. I knew that was going to happen. I heard World Radio 6-1, but whoever's around you, I didn't hear him. You know, whoever was talking to you. But I got 6-1 in there. He's got sole control right now. Hi, String Bean. Hey, man, you're doing great, man. I got goosebumps all over knowing what you're talking on, man. She's crystal clear, sounds great. Well, actually, you sound probably identical. Anyways, I'll let you go, man. String Bean, it's my pleasure, bud. I'm really glad that thing is still working the way it does. Enjoy it. I like my little barefoot mobile. Now, I did put a 200 amp alternator in my Jeep. It didn't need it. Well, kind of. It was starting to make noise. I did the idler pulleys, you know, and the little tensioner. So I figured, it needs an alternator. So one of these days, man, we'll fire that thing back up. String Bean down there by that TJ border. My pleasure, man. 163 Mud Duck Station in the desert. We're clear and moving on. Hey, if you're checking out any of those videos, man, you don't need it, but it's there, man. It's available. I'm using one right now. I was up super. I got up, man, put my slippers on, my underwear, came back to the shop. It's not that far for me to walk. I'm not being weird, but I was in here again, man, till like 3 o'clock in the morning, playing with radio stuff again, playing with knobs there, String Bean.
Hey, 163, do me a favor and tell String Bean that I said hello. And good morning down there on San Diego.
Oh, well. Right. Yeah, somewhere down the line, I'm not passing the buck or the puck, but this is the way that usually goes. When you first get it, you're playing with it, and you start flipping switches, that happens. The easiest way, String Bean, to rectify that scenario is get a big pen that kind of got that little topper thing on it, take it off, turn the radio on, or, you know, turn it off. Use that pen, because I know you got big fingers. Push all those buttons in at the same time and do a factory reset. But first, turn the clarifier knobs exactly where they go. Wait till it says reset end, then turn it back on from scratch, and you'll be fine, okay? It's easy. It's easy, String Bean. It really is, man. Whatever you can find that'll fit in there that's plastic so nothing gets scratched, just hold them in, turn it on, and it'll say, I forget, it's reset. And then sit back for, it depends on what's been done to the radio, you know, afterwards, for the reason it's doing that, and how long it takes. the CMOS or the computer to reset, and it'll say reset end. Turn the radio back on. That'll be a factory reset from scratch.
That sounds like a complicated radio.
Hey, good afternoon to you. Well, me with the zeros, Tallahassee, Florida, is back wild.
It's easy. Hey, man, I almost forgot there, John. Hey, you got a phone call, man. Four fingers and a thumb from Motormouth Mall. He's saying hello to you there, String Bean. Right there, John. He's saying hello right back, man. He put the emphasis in that voice. You copy? Back to you, Motormouth Mall.
10-4. All right, good deal. I appreciate you rolling that 5 and keep it all the way alive. And, by the way, I got a good Watergate going over here with you on here. You're really strong. You're up here like a 9 S units. And all by yourself, crystal clear, crystal clean. So I'm going to post it up on YouTube later tonight to bring.
I appreciate that there, Mr. John Motormouth Mall. Yeah, I moved away from power lines, man. I moved away from the power lines. I'm like only 270 feet or something like that, exactly south of where it was located, the exact same system. So maybe, we could even talk about this in the future, about your location in relation to power lines and AC. What's 60 hertz? The 11th power of 27?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's, those suckers will cause all kinds of grief and havoc. And that last thing you want to do is be next to them for multiples of reasons, but receive is usually the primary reason, but they do affect transmit as well. So, it's good to be away from the power lines to break.
We got, in dB, in sound in dB, not on my signal, but I could hear a lot better too. It's just compared to my Jeep. So that video that I got, comparing the V5H to my Jeep, the quarter wave, I'm going to have to redo it, I guess. I still have a transformer to my east. It's about, I didn't step it off, it's about 120 feet, and another power line. Both power lines are poles. They're parallel with me, but there's nothing going over me to my west. So there's really nothing to my south, and there's a couple like phone lines and other power lines to my north, but about 100 foot away. So here's where we sit, man. Just getting away from the power lines, and I talked about this in one of my videos to see if anybody would notice the difference. And yes, sir, back to you.
Right, sure. Oh, very cool, man. That's good to hear. You got some positive results from moving away from the doggone power lines. And fortunately, I don't have any of those to contend with. The only thing I have to contend with from time to time, depending upon season, is the neighbors and their grow lights. And I got the little box to rectify that situation. Whenever I pointed the big beam antenna north, I got this in my receiver. And, I kind of sort of rectified that with a little MFJ, what do you call it, the 1025 box. And now I can kind of bring in another signal and mix them together and null out the noise, and it works wonders. So, yeah, noise and power lines and neighbors can be a nightmare to bring.
Yes. Where I sit, I'm in an RV park. It's not like very, very populated, and there's nothing as an RV within so many feet. Maybe about 60 feet to my north, nothing to my south. I'm up against a metal building, but there is other RVs around me. It's not, old junk. It's all decent stuff, but I'm not sure, unless I go look at it or know the name brand and the model number, I'm not sure if it's going to be a pure sine, quasi, or square wave, inverter. I have no idea. And then there's some people that have some little lights outside, with the little chargers on them for night light LEDs. So it's just a matter of time till I get it all figured out. It's not like I don't have enough to do every single day, but so far so good. String Bean, I'm not ignoring you, bud.
As long as you're talking to your radio, that's all that counts.
I got a great signal on you. I wish I was doing a video gate, because I was embarrassed to do video gates before with all the noise that I had. When I pull in my driveway, I have to hold my hand over my eyes so I couldn't see the transformer. I was embarrassed.
Dear Slayer, the sand pile, we got any condensers coming your way? Hello.
He was only running 30.
Ooh, I hear Old Man Oklahoma out there. What am I running? 120. Ooh, I got a bunch of reflected power on this frequency. I should be on channel 6. Man, I got all kinds of reflected power here. I don't belong up here. Let me try the 5/8 wave. It might have better SWR on this frequency. It may not work as well as a beam, but it might be a bit better on the SWR. I'll be right back. 163 hard drive, motor mouth malls, stepping. I'm going to switch over to the 5/8 wave ground plane.
Still hear me, and I'll get off this kid. I mean to be tying it up, but I've just recently discovered something myself. I'm sure others have done it, don't know if they know what they're doing, but I'm pretty broad, man. At least that's what my radio sees. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. But the thing is my antenna's resonant. All right, man, yeah, keep them something went wrongs out of your radio, man. You don't need that motor mouth mall string bean. Everybody out there at DX Land, it was my pleasure. 163 Mud Duck Radio in the Desert. We're clear and moving on.
Hey, 163. I switched over to the 5/8 wave ground plane. I had a little bit of SWR that was kind of bothering me, so I opted to switch over to the 5/8 wave here on 27285. So I don't know if that makes a difference on your end, better or worse. I know you're on the 5/8 wave, so maybe it went up. But anyway, I have much better SWR on the 5/8 wave than I did on the beam to break.
Your signal seems to be about the same, but, you know, there was a time lag, and time is everything in DX, so it seems like your amplitude slightly went down, you know, your modulation. Just barely, but, you know, only because you asked me, right?
10 for it. No pain, no strain. All right, good deal. Well, I feel better not seeing a whole bunch of reflected power, and I don't have this whole system tuned up for this frequency. It's all optimized for 28, and it really does make a big difference. I mean, sorry, optimized for 6. And it really does make a big difference as to where I talk there. So anyway, all good. A 163 hard drive, motor mouth mall waving right there right now. And I got the video gate rolling, so I'm a listener. You'll see how wide I am compared to how wide you are. Let me narrow mine up here. At this point in the video gate, I'm going to narrow the audio up a little bit and see. We're at 6.5 kilohertz. I'm going to go all the way down to 4.5 right here. There we go, 4.5 kilohertz. Now I'm within the 10 kilohertz bandwidth, 9 kilohertz total band spread, and I was out 6.5 kilohertz or 13 kilohertz total band spread. So anyway, I narrowed it up a little bit there. I don't know if that made a difference on your end.
I can hear the difference. I personally, unless I'm at the helm of the Flex or the SDR radio, I use actual test equipment. And I've seen my recording on a couple others that were using it, and not bad. I know that I will go out almost specific higher frequencies, almost 6, but I try to keep it as narrow as possible for the majority of the readers that are out there to listen. And you guys, as well as I have, it's electronics, it's physics. You keep them between the lines, you're going to slice them and dice them. Back to you.
Yeah, I 10 for it. Well, I had it a little bit wider because I was catering to a particular person the last time I was talking that was running a wider IF, and it sounded better. But you're right. You know, you want to keep it within the lines and keep it on channel for those who are running standard radios. And, yeah, you're definitely where you say you are. And, yeah, I have an SDR receiver because I use it for receiver as well as to be able to see the bandwidth. And no, I don't get all hung up on using my Hewlett-Packard Spectrum Analyzer for looking at bandwidth because the two of them really, they work well with each other. They jive. In other words, if you keep the levels right and attenuate the signal and keep everything apples and apples, the Hewlett-Packard looks the same as the Flex SDR 1500 that I have. So anyway, but I'm not saying, I'm not getting into the whole NIST accuracy, and I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying I'm looking at your signal, and I see that you were narrower than I was, so I narrowed mine up to match closer to what yours is. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. I realize you got the whole NIST calibrated workbench and all the fancy cool stuff, and that's all good. I wasn't getting into a battle about better equipment or worse equipment. I know I'm working a cheesy little SDR compared to your good stuff. I was just making a comparison on what I saw in bandwidth on the receiver they're breaking.
I wasn't trying to get into that old motor mouth mall. I can hear that in your voice, man. I'm not trying to argue one bit. But I do like looking at it, knowing what it is. Exactly what it is, because you start putting different antennas in, and if you go wider from the point you're looking at the SDR or however you got it set, you might see things that are different, things that will cause more issues. Anyways, yeah, the SDR and the flex stuff, one of these days I'll get to it, but I dig my older equipment with the CRTs, I really do. No motor mouth mall, I wasn't doing extensive stuff like that, but like I was saying, without being behind the helm and knowing without every single connector, how it's soldered, etc., you notice that I do it with that little burp.
Well, West Texas Mobile, there you go, hello coming your way.
And it's singing. I spent a lot of time, over 40 years of radio. What I learned in broadcast engineering versus this real world here, which I never...
Okay, Roger, 513 in the Mobile, 288. Over here in the Arizona desert. Take care.
The real world, man. I dig the real world. My little Jeep, man, that Francis antenna. It's an old school. It's a good antenna. The half-wave length tune wire between the antenna and the radio, the grounds, the ground, the counterpoise are, DC potentials being equal. You hear it, man. I dig it. I love my little Jeep. 100 continuous AM watts at 80 on sideband. No, I can't walk on nobody, but you can hear it, So, like you were just saying, you get it all tuned in. Resonance. There's a point in the algebraic equation where power will overpower resonance, but when you're low power, you can't beat it.
Well, absolutely. Well, it's like a bell. I like to use the analogy of a big bell. And if you got the bell tuned to 440, like an A, and you try to ring it, it's going to ring at an A. And if that happens to be 27.285, it's going to ring at 27.285. And the antenna ain't nothing more than a bell. And if the thing's not resonant and you're trying to cram something else into it, it's going to take a degree of power to overcome that lack of resonance. Resonance is key. It's why I named the big beam Resonant Evil. It's resonant. It doesn't take a whole lot of power going into it to make the thing work right. And more power just helps. But, if you're relying on power to the degree of the out of resonance, if you're relying on power to overcome lack of resonance, oh, man, you're really hurting yourself. So, yeah, it's all about tuning it and making it right, making it ring on frequency. And, but it's examples of what a tune system does in and around and through the mess in the real world, as you were talking about. Compared to just looking things on scopes and in pictures and on in a shop, you get out in the real world and all kinds of things manifest themselves in ways that we sometimes expect and sometimes don't expect. Brady.
Right. A lot of people, since I've been now you've had a YouTube channel probably longer than anybody. I've been doing this stuff a long time too, but using a scope, before I left home. But using a scope is an art itself. I tried to tell people on Facebook and other places, in the public and on Facebook, that if you just go out and buy a scope and think that you're going to tune a radio according to the book, you're going to be really, really sorry. You're going to be Opie Taylor. There's a whole bunch more to it, like what you do with your AC mod and your frequency responses. I haven't had one. People have said, I don't know what's up. Yes,
no AC mod. That's a fraud.
I forget the year, it was in 1985, I think, was the first brand new CB radio that I bought. It was a Unit MPC 77. I used to stop at Mauser in Mansfield, Texas, and modified transformers and various resistors and transistors to where I could input directly straight into the AM section to modulate the carrier. The only thing I didn't do was have a way to control the AMC on the AM radio section of the radio. And at that point, I know what you do, man, is awesome. It is. But what I seen was it was going to take a lot more work to be able to control the ALC and AMC on other radios. And by that time, the HR2510 came out, and man, I used the heck out of those. But anyways, a lot of years have gone by, a lot of time. And I'm glad we're in here talking, man, because I wish more people would pay attention to what's real. Because real world is the real world. And you can achieve that on a bench, but there's a whole bunch you got to know about it.
Oh, absolutely. That's so true. By the way, I don't use an ASIMOD. ASIMOD is a fraud. The modulator is the real deal. I just want that to be said. You heard you used the word ASIMOD, and that's that turkey down there in Florida. And you know, I'm the original. So anyway, yeah. ASIMOD is a fraud. It's a great article. Anybody out there want to Google it? Just Google ASIMOD is a fraud. And it'll come up. You can read it and enjoy it. All that kind of good stuff there. But I know that was just a slip. Anyway, yeah, shoot, man. I'm glad this is on VideoGate. I'm glad you're out there up in my receiver like you are. And there were a few little, you know, I don't want to say competition. There was no competition, but there were some other keys up in there here and there that you can compare quality versus other stuff too. And so it's always good to be able to get that stuff up in the eyes of people who are interested. And eventually, a hard drive. Eventually, this stuff will catch on. Eventually, keeping it between the lines. You know, I heard a signal the other day that was amazing. It was, I think I posted, it was a short little video clip of Reverend Dr. of Pennsylvania Pimp over there. And he did a ooh-wee. And I have a little bit of stuff on my sideband's. Ooh-wee. That comes up in there, but nothing like his video. You gotta see that little video I did. It's like 1 minute and 32 seconds long, but when he went, ooh-wee, you saw those spikes go all the way up and down the band, and, you know, there was some stuff in the center between the lines, but man, it just went on either side like it, and all that area under the curve of all those little spikes that were not on the channel that we're talking on. Like right now, when you're looking at my video or you're looking at your video of our audio, you're seeing our audio is in between the lines. And the energy content and the power, the talk power is all where it's supposed to be. And the watt meter is most likely going to register the power of this area under that particular area under the curve. But when you got those spikes that are all out, multiple channels on either direction, spreading out across the band, and you look at the energy it takes to make those spikes, that watt meter is saying, hey, I'm looking at all of the power you're putting out, including these spikes, and I don't know what they are. I don't care what they are, but they're power, so I'm going to give you a reading. And then the people get a reading on their meter, and they think they got it all going on. But when they look at how much is actually on frequency, it's a different story. So hopefully this whole spectrum analyzer / SDR / pan adapter kind of a VideoGate system that people are going to these days, including myself, will depict where the energy is within the band and how it's distributed. And all that stuff. I don't mean to be keyed down too doggone long, but I know we're on the same page. But like you say, I hope people see the stuff to break.
Right. By the way, I just want to let you know I apologize. And when you said that, I stood up, spun around in my chair, then realized I had to spin back the other direction because I was wrapped up in my mic cord. But I was saying the AC, but I apologize on that. Yeah, man, I've been trying to, show this and prove it. And well, I realized forget proving it because that doesn't work. People don't want to hear it. But yeah, I have a lot of time and a lot of money in this. This meter that's sitting here was recommended by Tim Holt. Tim, the engineer, the main dude over there at Bird Technologies, was actually looking at and trying to build me one. There was parts of it on his desk while I had this building down there in Florida, but time was running out, man. That's what was going to go all the way to my left where you see my hot air, my solder sucker, and this bird meter. That's where it was going to go. That's why that section is there. But anyways, he told me, and I got the emails, etc. I'm going to try to teach people about what a watt is, what 0.573, 0.707, 0.64 DC heating was all about on some real test equipment, decent stuff. Oh, there's probably some better, but the 4314C, the Tektronix scopes and the HPs, it's really good stuff. And yeah, I can solder, man, and I can tune wire, etc. Yeah, I can. I'm not bragging. I can. but it's caused so much hate and discontent, and you'll hear it in my voice, because I get picked on a lot, man, you know that. But anyways, like we're talking right now, you know, there's a couple other video gates I got up, and they're on other pages where I can just do a screenshot showing a couple guys, like, look, man, this is what you're doing. You're supposed to be setting an example. You're a radio shop and a tech. Let's all get on the same page. This way, a barefoot radio can get out there and talk, because even though you don't see some of the stuff on the spectrum or the SDR, it's there 20, 30, 40 channels away. And my radios, certain ones, not all the exports, but the ones I push now, I could hear a signal at negative 135 and below, negative 138 and below, you know, dBm. But if that signal is out there, completely wiping out the noise floor, then we, you know, if I'm talking to my radios, we can talk. Nobody else is talking, but we can talk. And that's kind of cool. I get goosebumps every single time I do that. But when there's a splatter box out there that someone claims that they know what they're doing and is getting out there and jacking shit up, it pisses me off, you know. Because a lot of time, a lot of effort and knowledge is put into these radios to be able to do that. Then you get somebody who comes out there with a Class C. They don't know what they're doing, you know, and they're going, look at the meter, and they not even 20... is even on the right frequency. Oh, my timeout timer went out from my radio there for a second. Anyways, I'm getting excited now, Motormouth Mom. I'm going to shut up, man. Enjoy the day in Mother Nature 2163 Mud Duck Station. We're clear. By the way, I can talk as long as I want to. I just got to watch my timeout timer.
Roger. Hey, I want you to notice on this video, babe, at 4 particular locations so far, 23 minutes and 30 seconds roughly, at 24 minutes and 12 seconds, at 25 minutes and 1 second, or 25 minutes, and at 25 minutes and 50 seconds, there was a interesting little, you know, on the SDR you can hear when you get that little, and it travels from one side of the screen to the other. You can see that. Usually it travels from the higher frequencies to the lower frequencies, and it could be anything from over-the-horizon radar to, you know, RF generation to who knows what conditions. It could be whatever it is. Anyway, this particular noise was something different. Unlike the typical little birdie that, you know, across the band, this is more like a white noise. And it started up high about off the screen. Oh, by the way, that's one thing that the spectrum analyzer does when over here is that you can't see the entire spectrum, however you span it out. Whereas my flex, even at 0.05 or 0.5, I can only see a channel and a half on either direction. I can't really see the entire 40 channels. A lot of the guys with the SDR receivers can see the entire band and see somebody on 6 splattering up on 28 and all that kind of. I can't see that with the flex, but I do have the HP, and it will show me that I'm clean across the band. So I'm happy about that. But look at those times, and this white noise will kind of work its way down and settle just south of 27,285. It'll start up off the screen. It'll come down, and it's wide. It's like maybe 30 kc wide, 20 kc wide, 25 kc wide, and it's got a really sharp shoulder on it, and it sits where the center of it's probably somewhere around 27,280. Or maybe even a little bit farther, maybe 27,276 or something. Anyway, it's really wild. You'll see it on the video. I have no idea what that is, but it's happened 4 times so far during this video gate debris.
Roger, Roger. I'm sure there's probably all kinds of people trying to key on me, right?
No, and it's not somebody keying unless it's somebody's dirty transmitter. It was there. Just when I got off of the key, it was there again. Really weird stuff. I've never seen that particular pattern and that particular sound generated before, and it's definitely not coming from anything local here. It's coming from something outside, maybe solar, sunspot related, I don't know what, but it's very strange. I can't wait for you to give your opinion on what you think that is. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But no, nobody's keying on you. You're in there all by yourself, Debris.
Cool, yeah. Well, you know, after watching a lot of people with all these different SDRs and radios, you know, I'm not actually set up for it. I'd have to do some modifications. I could use my other service monitor, spectrum analyzer, to view and monitor But I'd like to do it. What I do is look at that CB Radio Live. He's on Facebook or YouTube. You can see it. And I watch some of his stuff from time to time. I sit here. I need to be working, but my laptop's to my left, and you know my bench. You've seen it. There's plenty of videos. But I'm really thinking about doing it, not to monitor my own because I can. I see exactly what's coming out the back of my stuff here, going into this equipment before the antenna. So anyways, yeah, you know, I thought about getting a Flex, an SDR. I did buy one little radio, MH something. I did a video of it, dissected it, and I was so disappointed. You know, you had to go back to China. It was, the soldering skills look like some little kid sitting outside with the wind blowing on a picnic table. So I went back. But anyways, that's what I was going to use it for. All right there, Motor Mouth Mo. We've been bumping the gums a long time, probably, you know, irritating some people who don't mean to do it. But I'm going to get on out of here. I'll check out that video gate for sure. And for the other guys out there, get in there with a screwdriver. Remember, it takes a lot more than you think. You get in there with a screwdriver, you're putting out less than more. You got to keep it between the lines.
10-4. By that way, that noise is like about 10 or 15 dB above the noise floor. It's about 15 kilohertz wide. It's very square. It's equal amplitude from the left side to the right side with a little rise on the bass and the treble, and then a very sharp roll-off. And it looks like it's got to be coming from somebody's transmitter. Somebody must be keying up. What it looks like, I'm going to guess, is a really dirty radio with a VFO wind-up mod, generating some harmonics because of a poorly tuned output filter and who knows what going on in the amplifier. And the amount of time it takes for it to sweep from one place to the other and where it ends and the way it repeats itself over and over again looks like it's a byproduct of somebody up higher up off frequency on some other part of the band keying up with a really dirty radio and a VFO windup. And the harmonics caused by that dirty VFO wind-up equipped radio is showing up on this frequency. That's what I think. But I want to see your take on this. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen on the pan adapter so far. I've seen that little noise that, you know, the RF kind of a birdie kind of a sound that trickles its way down across the band, and it works all the way across to the channel and off the screen and on the screen. But this is different. This really reeks of a dirty station, and the VFO windup is causing the drift. And but there's no voice associated with it. It's like a dead carrier, and then there's no. Now you would think that if it was just a dead carrier with the VFO windup, then there'd be a spike that moved. This is a wide, broad sound. It's 15 kilohertz wide. It's probably 7.5 kilohertz of audio, and it's very strange. Anyway, I can't wait for you to see this video gate. All right, catch you later on. I'm going to get back on the side. I got to get back out to work. I was actually walking in here to get some tools and going back out to go work on the stairs on the house. And I heard this skip bowling, so I thought, well, I'd get up in there. I know this is 28. I know that I probably shouldn't key too much on here with this antenna SWR situation. But on the 5/8 wave, it seems to work okay. So no big deal. But anyway, all right there, Harddrive. Take care. Have a good day. We'll catch you later on. Motormouth Mall, working this undermodulated Cobra 29 right here. Right now, I got down.
Pretty decent. I got a little bit of stuff in there. I'm not barefoot. But anyways, yeah, man. It's good to know that there's others out there that actually care, you know. Some of us really do care. All right there, Motormouth Mall. You got to go do what you got to do. I got to get back to work, too. Be cool, man. It's my pleasure. 163, Little Bitty Mud Duck Radio in the Desert. We're clear and moving on.
All right. And by the way, I do hope you had some sort of a video gate going. Do you have your phone running at all?
Me, no.
Oh, bummer. Okay. It would have been nice to hear both sides of the conversation, you know, even if you record like 10 or 15 seconds right now. But it would have been neat to hear both sides there and, you know, compare one video gate to the other just to hear both recordings of the same conversation that break.
Well, I just pushed a button there, Motormouth Mall, but I got to, what I'm doing on my scope, I got to try to readjust it because it's too bright. You're going to hear my air conditioner's running. It's noisy in here, but go ahead.
All right, sounds good. Well, just a little gate is better than no gate at all. So anyway, yeah, good to talk to you there, Harddrive. We covered a whole lot. For those of you who are hearing just this little bit of a gate, make sure you listen to the other full one on YouTube here. I'll be posting it later tonight. So go ahead and listen to the whole conversation, and you'll get the meat and the potatoes the gist of the drift, the meaning of life and radio as we should all know it and enjoy it. Motormouth Mall, your West Coast, undermodulated beast, right here, right now. I got down.
Yeah, man, Motormouth Mall. I'm not sure how this is going to sound, but I got a lot of noise in here, okay? A lot of noise. I'm actually sitting at the bench. All right. Looks like I got 52 seconds left on my battery. Motormouth Mall, be cool. Take care. 163 Mud Duck Radio. We're clear and moving on.
All right, Roger on the 52 seconds and counting, and we'll catch you later on. 7.3, so I'm going to go ahead and hit back to 6.5 kilohertz just for fun. And anyway, there you go. Hey, Harddrive, Motormouth Mall, your West Coast undermodulated beast, right there. Right. Oh, let me go up a little wider. Let me go up to NRSC right there. Take a look at that for bandwidth. At 20 KC wide bandwidth and 10 kilohertz of audio. Radio station Motormouth Mall, your West Coast undermodulated beast, right there, right now.
I was looking at my camera raw, man. I got 1 hour and 41 minutes left. All right, man. I'm probably showing too much, but that's all right. I'm just a Mud Duck Radio. I'm a Motormouth Mall. Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I got to get to work. If I stay out here, we have conditions, and we both have pretty much, I guess, unlimited key down time. So probably a good idea to get back to work and say 7.3s, let the rest of Santa Maria and the rest of everybody else have at it. I'm going to get out of here. Good talking to you. Always a pleasure with the double measure. Harddrive, Motormouth Mall, stepping right there, right now.
Right, yeah, you'll be out here for a good while.
Well, that was a double and a half. What was that?
It was me. I said you'll be out here for a while.
Oh no, I'm going to be out in the field working on the house. I'm walking away from the radio, so we'll catch you later under Smoke and Pete.
All right, John. Talk to you later. Me.